Good morning, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart, and this is stock chart analysis. We're going to take a look at KNDI Technologies today. Today is Monday, May 18th, and it's before the market opens. It's 5 to 8 this morning. So what we've got, we're going to look at the daily and the weekly chart, but KNDI's taken a pretty hard hit over the last 5 days, as you can see here. If you've been in the stock, you're well aware of this. Of course, 12.58 is where it closed a week ago on the Friday the 8th, and then it hit an intraday low of 8.52 on Thursday. So pretty dramatic downtrend. I'm going to start off with the weekly chart, go back to the weekly here. Okay, so a couple of things that I'm looking at. Number one, I see a long-term trend. Well, let me step back. Number one, I think we had 5 impulse waves up, okay, 5 major waves to the high side, which I think is one large impulse wave. Now, what I've seen so far is this corrective action. And of course, let me take this. It needs to go all the way to the top up here. It's about actually a little bit over 61.8% of this entire move. And I need to get this down here. There we go. And okay, so the dotted line come across here, 61.8%. It's, actually exceeded that slightly. And so it's right at that. So that's one thing is, it's had a pretty extensive correction already. Now you look at that and you say, well, why? It doesn't look like it. Well, let me take it off a semi-log. Semi-log puts everything in percentage proportion. And here's an arithmetic chart, and you can see that, yes, this has corrected 61.8%. Pretty dramatic pullback in a fairly short period of time. Let me go back to the semi-log. Okay, so the other thing then is this trend line, this long-term trend line. So it's come back and it looks like it's come right to this trend line, which should be providing some support. And then the other thing that it's getting support in here is I've created like a little support zone with these 2 peaks in here, and it looks like that's coming into play also. So let's go ahead and go over here to the daily chart. So let me zoom out a little bit. So here's that support zone I was talking about. So it looks like it's getting support in this zone, 8.5 to 9.2, right at that long-term trend line. The negative thing, several negative things, and let me go back to the weekly chart. The trend lines, let me get rid of this to make it easy to see, easier. And I'll zoom in. The 10-week is below the 21-week, which is below the 55-week moving averages. So the moving averages are all aligned to the downside right now. And the same thing is happening when you go to the daily chart. The 10's below the 21, below the 55, below the 233. So the long-term trend is when the 55 breaks below the 233. A lot of people use a 50 and a 200. I use the Fibonacci numbers 55 and 233. The long-term trend is to the downside, and so now everything is aligned negatively and it's broken down. So the other thing is you look at the RSI, and the RSI is extremely oversold. I drew this line in here. It's down around to 15, but you can see it actually got to 14.4. There were 2 other times it got really, really low like this, and it had pretty significant bounces. The only thing is, both of those times, the long-term trend, as opposed to being down, it was up. The 55 was above the 233. So I'm not quite sure how strong a bounce we're going to get off of this with everything aligned negatively. Now, should this bounce, the first resistance point is going to come in as this zone right in here, 10.3 to 10.68. Well, why is that? Well, it's because previous lows, right in here, and you can see that when it was dropping, it hesitated and got some support on Wednesday, Thursday in that zone, but then it smashed through it, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then it smashed through it on Thursday, and now, so my expectation is if it bounces, it's going to probably get some resistance right in here, and we'll see how strong that resistance is. If it breaks through and closes above, say 10.68, then it may pull back and come back up into the low 12 area. So we'll see. what kind of support we're getting off of this trend line and this support zone down in here. This is a complex corrective action that's going on. I actually thought that the correction might have been over right in here. Thought we were getting some rally going to break out, but it just didn't happen. It rolled back over down into here. Okay. And so now the other thing is this trend line is basically encompassing all of the corrective action down below it here. So in order for this to really turn and launch higher again, it's going to need to break this trend line. Okay, so it's got a lot of work to do, a lot of repair, because it's had a lot of damage. This may take weeks, months for this thing to turn, consolidate, bottom, if it's going to resume its uptrend. Okay, and this could be a washout. I mean, it's very possible it's a washout. So we'll have to just watch. It could be consolidating and then break on down through this, or it could just consolidate a little bit and bounce up in here. We just have to watch and see. This trend line needs to hold. This support area needs to hold on Candy. So that's my take for now. We'll see how she plays out. And everyone who's in this, I wish you a lot of luck. All right. And I mean that positively. So, all right, everyone, have a great week. We'll talk to you soon. It's been Joe for Beyond the Chart.